Conor, hey, thanks for joining me tonight. And you put in your application to join the podcast, and I mean, you've been a guest on the podcast. You're an avid listener, so you know how utterly useless Ryan is. So I appreciate you considering joining the podcast. What made you decide to go ahead and submit an application for the podcast?
Well, it's a lot like how people get into politics when you just see gross incompetence at a broad spectrum level. When people, so this is a professional interview, but when you see gross incompetence at a level where other people can see it's kind of embarrassing. In the great words of Ralph Nader, this was my time to step in. So, not to steal the votes or anything, but I see what Ryan does. I think I can do it better. Just thought I'd put my hat in the ring.
So what do you think that you would particularly, specifically you would bring to the podcast?
Oh man, besides good looks, besides decades of experience, clearly, honestly, 40 years distilling experience by this point. I'm basically a master distiller.
Well, yeah.
Um, clearly, I have the same regimen as Tom Cruise. That's why I don't age. Him or Keanu Reeves, take your pick, based on your religion. I don't know. I think just compared to Ryan, I've had a lot of fruit in my life,
Yeah.
and when it comes to describing whiskeys, there's a lot of fruity components. And if you haven't had fruit, then you're kind of a fraud, and you should kind of be brought before Congress or at least a grand jury, because how can you say a whiskey tastes like something basic like cherries if you've clearly every time you've gotten a sundae, you flick the cherry off the top? Because how dare you consume any fruit in your life? I mean, honestly, he saves so much money when he goes to the grocery store because he doesn't even go to a normal grocery store. They have a produce section, which he doesn't know what that is. He pronounces it in French. He says produce. He goes to Smart and Final, and even the canned fruits, he thinks that's kind of a slur against a certain group of people, so he just walks right on past it. He doesn't even eat them. So I think I'm bringing a lot of knowledge about fruits.
Yeah.
No vegetables, clearly, but fruits,
Yeah.
100%. I'm bringing that experience.
All right. Well, let's quiz you on your knowledge of whiskey, the nose and the palates of just some random ones. So
Oh,
tell
let
me,
me tell
what do you get on the nose when you're sipping a mellow corn?
mellow corn on the nose.
On the nose, yeah.
Oh man, freedom.
Yeah.
There's some nice. It's a mellow corn character to it. It smells like Big Bird distilled. Best label in the industry. That smell of glue really adds to the whiskey. A little bit of Sweet Baby Ray's.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. It smells like the best damn whiskey there ever was.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, you knocked that response out of the park.
Oh
100%.
well, thank you.
Yeah. So okay, let's switch to a different one. Let's talk about the palate. Off memory, what palate, like what do you get on the palate whenever you are sipping on Maker's Mark 46?
When you
Just
talk
random.
about
Just randomly.
it's not random to bring up the second best whiskey ever made. Maker's 46. The reason it's called Maker's 46 is because out of the top 46 and a half whiskeys in the world, it's just number one. And if that math doesn't make sense, it's because Ryan did the math for me when he wrote the script for this interview. You know, it, it's so woody. It tastes like the seat of a Mustang that John Stamos just drove cross country in, just
Hmm.
with all the farts and all the must and all the sweat.
Yeah.
It's just so nice. I just think of John Stamos' undercarriage. Um, it just makes me feel a certain way that might be illegal here in Utah. I'm not entirely sure. I think
Yeah.
it is. But yeah, no, Maker's 46 on the palate, just freedom distilled, just
Yeah.
wood, just
Yeah.
lots of wood.
Okay. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, let's move on to the next question here. So, as you're aware, we use a different scale when it comes to ratings on the podcast. And now this is honest, I think that we have the best rating system on the planet. All of
There's
the
bar none.
all of the other podcasts, they like if you hear it's a 7.0, that's a trash whiskey. A 7.0 for us is a damn good whiskey because we use a true 0 to 100 scale. So it's technically it's a 1 to 10 scale. With
Yeah,
a
but you
team,
gotta bring the numbers down because Ryan can't handle those big numbers.
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
So
Thankfully, he doesn't have to go above 10 though, because then he has to take off his shoes, and that gets
that's
fucking.
why Jack Daniels just old number 7. If it was old number 70, he was no
He'd be
chance.
done. Couldn't do it. So let's have you off the top of your head. Let's have okay. So a Jim Beam White Label is a 5.0 on our scale. Where would
Sure.
you put a whiskey like a Henry McKenna Bottled in Bond?
I'd give it a solid 8. Back when it was $30 a bottle, that's
Yeah.
a 10 all year long. Because I mean, for the money, that's a killer whiskey. And there's another great Heaven Hill bottled in bond that I won't mention because I don't need the price going up.
Yeah.
But ever since it won the award, all of a sudden it's where Blanton's should be priced, and up for debate whether that should be the way it is. I'll give it an 8, 8.0.
8.0. That's fair. That's fair. Okay. All right. Well, I just really got one more question for you. And that is, give me a 1 minute pitch on why I should pick you specifically to replace that worthless piece of shit Ryan.
Well, 1 minute, it's tough to encapsulate just how great I am and how shit Ryan is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that speech in Moneyball where the Yankees are up here, and then there's normal teams, and then there's 50 feet of dog shit, and then there's Ryan Namath.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's his last name, honestly. It's not worth remembering. But what I bring to the table, again, besides dapper good looks and a well manicured beard,
Yeah.
I can get you a discount. That's pretty nice. Midwinters, I mean, I'll prison smuggle the bottles out for you. Mariah Carey, she got a bottle this year, but you can get it next year. Man, if I really had to describe it in one word, well, not one word, in one sentence, why I should be on there. This is Ryan. It's a pretty good co-host or tri-host. I don't know how it breaks down, but a pretty good host for the show. But then you see this one, and you go, that's a better host.
That's a better host. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Ryan's Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
A lot of people like him. Actually, I'm not sure about that, but apparently he's popular. But I'm that hidden gem.
Yeah.
That no one talks enough about. But anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So, I'm sorry. So Ryan is the Buffalo Trace, and you are the Pikes.
Yeah.
The 114 proof, the heavy hitter. That's
110 proof, actually, sir. Not to correct you. I know that's probably not good manners during a job interview, but 110 proof.
Well, I hate to tell you this, but you're done. I got to reject you.
Like, oh. Listen, Dan, we had a fucking conversation about this shit. You know I need this fucking job. I fucked up a few batches.
Look,
they're saying I'm getting kicked out of Utah for this.
You want to tell me
a gig, bro?
There are ways to correct me, and that was not it. Oh, Jesus. Nolan Sharkey, rejected. Hey, James, thanks for joining me today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm really excited and happy for the opportunity to talk to you today, Dan.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that you sent in your resume. When I looked at your resume, I see that you are the founder of the St. Louis Bourbon Society. Can you tell me a little bit about where that idea came from?
Yeah, I was sitting in bed one night, just had gotten back from the Bourbon Trail, and I was like, why is there nowhere that I can, hang out with some like-minded people and kind of do some fun things, some tastings and reviews and share industry stuff. And, I searched on Facebook and I couldn't find anything. So I sat there at 11:14 on December 16th of 5 years ago, exactly almost, and basically just created it. And it went from, well, let's just say for the first 6 to 12 months, it was me getting on my phone saying, "Hey, is there anybody out there? What are you guys drinking tonight?" And it eventually grew to, from 400 or 500 people to, doing major events, doing tastings almost monthly with most of the major distilleries in the country, and just doing the first annual St. Louis Bourbon Festival on October 1st. Had almost 800 people there for our first annual event. So that was great, and it was wonderful. And yeah, like I said, we're just having fun creating fellowship in the spirit. So got a great group of admin, and we're just happy to keep doing what we do. And thanks to all the people that are part of it. So
Well, that's really great, James. And like I said, I'm really glad that you sent in your resume. Now, I know that you are an adamant listener of the podcast. You are amongst the tens of followers that we have. And the first question, I guess, is why is it that you want? If you listen to the show, you know that Stephen and Ryan are both just absolute dead weight. They are absolutely useless in reality. So why is it that you want to replace Ryan or Steven?
well, I didn't want to say it, Dan, but yeah, since your show has started, I've kind of thought that the whole time. I'm like, who are these guys? Like, do they have any like real credentials to actually do some kind of a bourbon show? I mean,
Right.
so,
Yeah.
we've kind of been, just playing along with them the whole time. And, but, I kind of see like, maybe there's something more that we could do together to really build up the show and, you know, get rid of some of that dead weight.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah, that's a fair thought. So, I mean, I think as it stands, I do believe that another bourbon show is probably one of the best bourbon podcasts out there. Now, not of all of the podcasts, but if you were to make a list of like the 20 worst podcasts, we're amongst the best out of those 20, right?
For real.
Yeah.
No
I mean,
doubt.
we're not going to compete with Bourbon Pursuit, but if you were to list the 20 worst, we're amongst the best out of those, I think.
Yeah, totally. I've heard them mention the show before on their show. So, I mean, you must be doing something right. I mean,
That's what I think too. I appreciate that support there.
yeah.
But what is it that you can specifically bring us on the podcast that would put us up at that next level?
Well, I mean, obviously years of bourbon knowledge, we've got 9,000 plus people in our group. So, I mean, and they're all local right here. So it's like we're bringing you a local made audience kind of right at your doorstep. And I think I can make that happen.
Okay, that's fair. So let's get into your bourbon knowledge here. I want to ask you about a whiskey, and when you hear it, tell me just from your memory, what nose do you pick up from the whiskey that I mentioned? Let's go with Hancock's Reserve.
Oh, that's a great bottle. Right away off the nose, Hancock Reserve, I'm going to say probably a lot of vanilla and, maybe a little bit of a caramel as well.
Okay. And let's go with a different whiskey, and let's talk about the palate.
Mhm.
And let's just, you know what? Let's go in a different direction. How about Jepson's Malort?
Oh, that's an interesting bottle. Yeah, I usually get kind of hints of tire track, usually a little bit of burnt rubber and, new coffin smell.
Yeah. I feel that that's pretty accurate. Yeah, that's appropriate.
Yeah. Kind of goes along with the dead weight that we were talking about earlier, with Stephen and Ryan. Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, James. I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah.
I appreciate the honesty. So, what would you say is your favorite whiskey or bourbon?
That's a tough one. There's a lot of really good ones out there. At the moment, I'm really big into two things. I'm really big into Frey Ranch Rye.
Yeah.
Just a really cool company. Love it. One of the best ryes out there, in my opinion. And I'm also a little bit of shameless promotion, but I'm really into this great. She's my cherry pie pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
From the St. Louis Bourbon side in the Rack House. This stuff is the shiznit. So
There's nothing wrong with shameless promotion.
And by the way, we're going to be having a part 2 of this. It's going to be coming out here in the next few months. So the redo, She's My Cherry Pie, the remix is going to be headed your way pretty soon too. So
okay. Yeah, that's fair.
At the moment.
I mean, I think everybody knows that the correct answer there is mellow corn, but you're allowed to have your own opinions. I understand that.
There is a fondness in my heart for mellow corn as well. I mean, you really can't go wrong with the sweetness of that pure corn whiskey nectar for $14 a bottle. So
corn on corn on corn on corn.
That's right. That's right. There's no corniness there for sure.
None. So on our podcast, I think you're probably familiar that we use a different rating scale than most other podcasts do when we rate whiskeys. We use a full-on 1 to 10 score.
Yeah.
And Jim Beam White Label is our 5.0. And I think, honestly, legitimately, we've got the best rating system of any podcast out there.
I agree.
It gives a broad variety, and a 7.0 on many other podcasts is not a good score, but a 7.0 on our scale is very good. That's a good whiskey.
I love it.
So I would like for you to, off the top of your head, I see Weller 107 right there. Yeah. On a 1 to 10 scale, what would you say Weller 107 is? And I recognize that that's a store pick, but let's just go with the broad general Weller 107.
Wow. It's funny that you mentioned the 7, because I was going to probably put it somewhere in that 6 to 7 range myself. So, let's go with 7, Dan.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Yeah. All right. And James, the last thing I've got for you is I'd like for you to give me a 1-minute elevator pitch on why I should pick you to be my co-host.
I mean, who else? I mean, come on. I mean, Dan, we bring everything to the table here. We've got knowledge, members, barrel picks. I mean, come on. I mean, really. Plus I have an award-winning personality.
Well. All right. Well, James, you've given me a lot to think about. Let me put some consideration into this, and I will get back to you within the next week or two. Okay.
All right. Hey, Dan, I really, really appreciate this. Like I said, anything that I can do, or, whatever, you just let me know. And I'd really love to be a part of the team. So just hit me up, send me a DM or something. And let's talk through this, man.
Okay. Well, James, I appreciate it. All right. I appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow. And and you'll hear back from me soon. Okay, James?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks for your time.
Cheers, Dan.
Cheers. Rejected. Molten Patch. So, Alan, thanks for submitting a resume for the spot that might be opening here on Another Bourbon Show. You've been a guest on the show twice now, so you're well aware of how utterly useless Stephen and Ryan are. And I want to know, what is it that makes you want to replace Stephen or Ryan?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I didn't send a resume. I would say that's probably Russian collusion. And I thought that this phone call was a little odd myself. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, the show pretty much fucking sucks with those guys. So, if I can step in and, up the level, I'm happy to do it. But I'm going to be honest with you. Feels a little bit like auditioning to be the bass player in Metallica, but I'm Les Claypool. It's almost like I'm really too good for the band.
Yeah. I mean, when you consider all three of us, I'm sure that's right. But I could see you and I making a good pair. Not necessarily. I'm not necessarily on your level, of course, as far as distillation knowledge. You are literally untouchable when it comes to distillation knowledge. But one thing that I think would be really strong about the two of us is I think that we're both really good at pissing people off. I think that's one thing that would be a strength of the two of ours. All right, so let me ask you this: when you think of mellow corn, what nose profile do you get from mellow corn? Just curious. I mean, I personally get freedom. I get liberty. I get Second Amendment. I get a strong whiff of Second Amendment whenever I nose mellow corn.
Somewhere between vagina and mud fossil.
Okay.
Somewhere in that range.
Yeah. Okay. I like where you're going with that. I can support that. So now let me ask you another one. This is a favorite of Ryan's, and I'm just curious, when you are sipping on this, what palate characteristics would you give to Malort?
You mean? I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but the name of Malort got changed to Micklort. There was actually a merger between McDonald's and Malort, and it's now one company. And I would suggest that smells and tastes a lot like when UK basketball loses a tournament and people in Lexington set their couches on fire.
That is, that's a flavor note that I've not heard before, but I'm feeling it. I get that. I know where you're coming from.
With McLort, you really have to feel it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much else you can do.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Okay. Now you're aware, Alan, that on our show, we use a different rating system for bottles than I'm aware of from any other podcast out there. And that's that we use a 1 to 10, a full 1 to 10 scale, and a 5.0 is Jim Beam White Label. Whereas a lot of other podcasts, if they give a score of a 7.0, that's not a very good score. A 7.0 for us is a damn good score. So I'm just curious, on that 1 to 10 scale, what would you give your own product, William Dalton? Trash, yeah?
Trash.
So you like hold on. One of the here's another rating system I use. And this ranges from shit to trash to meh to good or very good. Where are we at on that scale? Still trash, or would you say shit?
Well, I would actually bring it up, but I will tell you that as a distiller, I feel like if someone says meh about my whiskey, it actually is worse than shit or trash, because then there's no fucking care at all, right? Just meh, right? Okay. I want you to be passionate, right? I mean, if it's hot garbage, then I want to know it's hot garbage, but I don't want meh. You know what I mean? Like either want the girl to be extremely attracted to me, smack me in the face. I don't want anything in between. Right?
You don't want her to ignore you.
No. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So in that case, you'd keep it at trash, or would you bring William Dalton up to a different level?
Oh, I would for sure say meh.
Meh. Okay. Fair enough. I can't say that I disagree with you. It's take it or leave it. Right. I mean, I don't know why somebody like Fred Minnick would say that it's one of the best out there. It makes me really question Fred Minnick's his palate, if you know what I'm saying. What was the award he gave it yesterday or the day before?
I mean,
Not that it matters. It's just Fred Minnick.
Right. I was probably napping. So
So you missed it.
may have missed that. Yes.
Missed it. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. I know that he said something pretty positive about it, which shocked me. Completely shocked me.
Absolutely. I mean, hey, listen. We're like the jackal of the whiskey world, just three dumb fucking Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Just throwing shit in a pot.
And that's exactly what it tastes like.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Like
Yes.
it's finished with dirty socks. That's
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like they just keep writing me checks.
That's yep. I see where you're coming from, Alan. All right, let's I got one more question for you, and then we'll let you get back to taking your nap and wringing your dirty socks in the mash bill. Give me a 1 minute elevator pitch of why you think I should pick you as to lead. Let's call it to lead the Another Bourbon Show podcast.
Listen, I mean, I got a dumb fucking hat.
Mm-hmm.
I got stupid facial hair,
Yeah.
right? I dress like this.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking character. All right.
Okay.
On
Yeah.
top of the fact that you're talking to a human tripod. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes down to it, who wouldn't want this fucking hunk of man meat raising the ratings on their show? You know, walking around with a live chicken. I mean, that takes some fucking confidence right there.
Yeah.
I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, this one goes to 11,
Ooh.
maybe 11.5.
Damn.
Now, I'm not necessarily offering my services. I'm just saying, if you write me a check for enough money, anything could happen.
All right.
See, I don't even need a full 60 seconds. It's just like it is with my wife.
Okay. All right. Well, Alan, you've given me a lot to think about. That's putting it lightly. I certainly have a lot to think of, and I appreciate your time. And if you could improve some of your products. If you could improve your products, go take care of that. You need to handle that, Alan. I understand it. Hey, take care of yourself, and I appreciate your time. I'll be in touch. Never.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, Alan. That's a big no.
Let's get this bourbon flowing.